The quantum shift reveals a truth the ancients always knew. Your bedtime thoughts are the universe's instructions. As you drift toward sleep, you stand at the gateway of creation itself. Tonight, you'll discover how to cross that threshold with purpose and awaken to the life you have imagined. The Quantum Shift. Introduction. In the silent hour between waking and sleep, your spirit stands before the gate of infinite creation. This twilight realm, where thought dissolves into dream and intention merges with the unseen, holds the hidden key to the universe itself. The sages of old knew this secret well. The final thoughts you carry into slumber are the seeds from which tomorrow's reality is born. Your mind, in this sacred dusk, becomes the garden of the cosmos. Each thought is a luminous seed, sinking deep into the soil of the quantum field, watered by the rhythm of your breathing and the quiet pulse of your heart. What you plant in this hour shall rise with the dawn, for the universe does not question. It simply echoes the frequency you hold. When the chatter of the world fades and your awareness drifts inward, you cross into the purest state of creation. Here, beyond the boundaries of time and form, your consciousness communes with the infinite. The law of attraction moves unhindered in this stillness, shaping matter from the vibrations of your most intimate beliefs. Your final thoughts before sleep are not idle wanderings. They are divine commands. As you surrender to the night holding visions of peace, abundance, and joy, the unseen fabric of existence begins to weave those visions into form. The quantum field listens, always, to the language of your feeling. This is the forgotten art of nocturnal creation, practiced by mystics through the ages. They understood that each night offers a sacred audience with the infinite, the source from which all worlds arise. You need no temple, no ritual, only awareness, only intention. So as you lay your head upon the pillow tonight, remember, you are not falling asleep. You are stepping across the threshold of the quantum shift, where dream and destiny become one. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Field of Becoming. Chapter 1. Before sleep, the doorway opens. In a village among ancient hills lived a woman named Amara, who spent her nights gazing at stars but never believed they would light her path. Each evening she would whisper to the darkness, "Nothing I wish for comes true," unknowingly weaving these words into tomorrow's tapestry. Through your consciousness flows the eternal river of creation. Like Amara, you may spend countless nights feeding doubt into the fertile soil of your dreams, unaware that these thoughts become the seeds of your tomorrow. The universe knows no difference between your waking and sleeping states. It simply receives and reflects the vibrations you offer. Your consciousness never truly sleeps. It merely shifts into different frequencies of being. Those precious moments before sleep are when your thoughts dissolve directly into the quantum field, pure and unfiltered. In this twilight state, your mind stands closest to the creative force of the universe, where intention transforms into reality with remarkable precision. A merchant named Karim once journeyed through the desert, carrying precious silks. Each night, fear of thieves kept him awake until exhaustion claimed him. His caravan was robbed 3 times in a month. Then an old mystic taught him to surrender his fears to the night sky, to trust in the protection of the universe. As Karim learned to release his grip on control, to fall asleep in perfect trust, his journey became blessed with safety. This tale mirrors your own relationship with the universe. When you release resistance and surrender to the flow of universal energy, you're not relinquishing control. You're allowing the infinite wisdom of creation to work through you. Every thought you hold as you drift into sleep becomes a command to the universe, a blueprint for tomorrow's manifestation. Ancient practice of nocturnal alignment. As you drift to sleep, give thanks for the abundance already flowing through your life, letting gratitude and certainty become your final thoughts, the sacred ink with which your dream self writes tomorrow into being. Chapter 2. The Whisper of Intention. The art of manifestation requires not force, but finesse. Your desires need not be shouted into existence. They must be whispered with unwavering certainty into the quantum field that surrounds you. Once there lived a merchant named Thomas, who believed that the universe responded only to those who demanded loudly. Each night, he would strain with all his might, clenching his jaw and fists as he pictured his desires, believing that intensity equaled power. Yet his dreams remained distant stars, twinkling but forever out of reach. The quantum field, this invisible ocean of possibility that bathes every atom of existence, speaks the language of resonance, not resistance. It mirrors not the volume of your wanting, but the clarity of your knowing. When you push against life with desperate force, you create ripples that disturb the very manifestation you seek. Thomas discovered this truth one evening while watching a butterfly land upon a flower. No amount of chasing would have brought that creature to rest. Only stillness made communion possible. That night, for the first time, he allowed his desires to float gently in his mind, like petals on a calm pond. Within weeks, opportunities began flowing into his life with an ease that had eluded him for years. The quantum field responds not to what you demand, but to what you have become. It matches the frequency of your being, not the intensity of your wanting. When you align with this truth, manifestation becomes as natural as breathing. In the quietude of his garden, Thomas learned this lesson again. He had planted roses, checking them obsessively each morning and evening, disturbing their roots with his impatience. The flowers withered under his anxious attention. Only when he learned to trust the wisdom of nature, to plant with intention, and then step back in faith, did his garden burst into magnificent bloom. This mirrors the way your intentions take root in the fertile soil of consciousness. Plant them with gentle certainty, then allow the universe space to work its magic. Your role is not to force the flower to bloom, but to maintain the perfect conditions for growth through your unwavering trust. Sacred practice, the whispered intention. As you drift to sleep, whisper your dearest desire into the night and release it with serene trust, knowing the universe has already received and begun arranging, all in perfect harmony with your wish. Chapter 3. Frequency before form. In the gentle hours before sleep, your thoughts cast ripples across the quantum field like stones upon still water. This truth unveiled itself through the tale of Edith, a woman whose life seemed caught in perpetual turbulence. Her home, her relationships, her daily experiences all reflected the storm that raged within her mind each night as she lay down to rest. Night after night, Edith's thoughts would spiral through worries and wants, each concern amplifying the next until her very being vibrated with discontent. And each morning, as though the universe had heard her internal chaos, her world would unfold in perfect discord with her desires. The shift began on an ordinary evening when Edith, exhausted from her usual mental struggle, simply surrendered. Instead of wrestling with her thoughts, she began to count her blessings: the warmth of her bed, the rhythm of her breath, the peace of the darkness. As appreciation filled her heart, she drifted into sleep wrapped in a cocoon of gratitude. The next morning unfolded with an unusual grace. Small synchronicities appeared like pearls on a string. A perfectly timed green light, an unexpected smile from a stranger, a solution presenting itself effortlessly to a problem that had long troubled her. This was her first glimpse of a profound truth. The universe responds not to your words or wishes, but to the emotional frequency you emanate. This principle crystallized further through another turning point in Edith's journey. During a particularly challenging period, she faced a situation that would normally have filled her with dread. Yet this time, something within her shifted. Instead of allowing fear to take root, she chose to view her circumstance with curiosity and wonder. How might this challenge serve my growth? She pondered as she prepared for sleep. Rather than resisting what was, she embraced it with fascination. This subtle shift in emotional frequency transformed her entire experience. Where once stood obstacles, opportunities emerged. What had appeared as barriers became doorways to unexpected blessings. The external reality had not changed, but her internal resonance had altered completely, and the quantum field responded in kind. The ancient practice of emotional alignment. As you drift into sleep, rest in the pure feeling of your fulfilled desire, gratitude, love, or quiet triumph, and let that vibration sing softly through you, knowing the universe is already composing your reality to match its melody. Chapter 4. The Silent Sculptor. In ancient times, a sculptor named Willa worked tirelessly in her modest studio, creating masterpieces that seemed to breathe with life. Yet, each morning, she awoke to find her greatest visions still trapped within blocks of marble, waiting to be freed. Through your own journey of manifestation, you now stand where Willa once stood. The universe has placed before you the raw material of infinite possibility. Like Willa, you possess a tool mightier than any chisel, the power of imagination. Imagination is not the fleeting fancy of idle minds, but the very language through which the universe speaks its intentions into form. When you close your eyes before sleep, you enter the sacred workshop where reality is sculpted. Here, in this space between waking and dreaming, your imaginative power reaches its zenith. Willa discovered this truth one evening as she sat before an untouched block of marble. Instead of lifting her tools, she closed her eyes and allowed herself to feel the completed sculpture within. Night after night, she would drift into sleep holding this vision, letting it fill her being until she could touch the smooth curves of the stone with her mind's eye. Gradually, her hands began to move with supernatural certainty, as if guided by the very vision she had nurtured in her dreams. The universe operates through similar principles. When you consistently hold a vision in your imagination, you are not merely daydreaming, You are establishing a template in the quantum field that reality must follow. Like water filling a vessel, circumstances will shape themselves to match your inner vision. A merchant once visited Willa's studio, questioning her methods. "How can you be certain the stone will yield what you envision?" he asked. His doubt pierced her concentration, and for days afterward her chisel hesitated, her vision clouded. It was then she understood. Doubt is the only force capable of interrupting the universe's perfect execution. Returning to her practice of pure imagination, Willa learned to shield her vision from the intrusion of doubt. She discovered that when she maintained unwavering focus on her inner image, the stone seemed to carve itself, revealing the very form she had held in her dreams. This wisdom speaks directly to your own creative power. The life you desire already exists in perfect form within the field of infinite possibility. Your task is not to force it into being, but to hold it clearly in your imagination until reality has no choice but to conform to your vision. Practice the ancient art of dream sculpting. As you drift to sleep, hold only the vivid feeling of your fulfilled reality, its joy, peace, and wholeness, and rest in the certainty that the universe is already shaping the world to match your inner design. Chapter 5. The Mirror Responds. A merchant named Benny trudged through life with slumped shoulders, cursing the heavens for his misfortunes. Each setback reinforced his belief that fate had marked him for hardship. His shop remained empty while others prospered. His relationships withered before blooming, and his dreams collected dust on forgotten shelves. Yet within this darkness lay a seed of transformation, for it is written in the ancient scrolls that the world around you is but a mirror, a precise reflection of your inner state. This truth stands as one of the most powerful principles governing the fabric of existence. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not judge or punish. Like a mirror, it simply reflects back what stands before it. Your perception shapes the reflection you receive. When you perceive lack, the mirror shows scarcity. When you radiate abundance, abundance appears before you. Benny's awakening came through an unlikely teacher, a wise woman who visited his shop one quiet afternoon. As he began his usual lament about his ill fortune, she simply pointed to the dusty mirror hanging on his wall. "Clean it," she instructed, "and watch carefully." When Benny wiped away years of accumulated dust, he saw not just his reflection, but a profound truth. His frown was met with a frown, his tension mirrored in every line of his face. The mirror held no agenda, it simply showed what was. In this moment, Benny understood that his external world had been faithfully reflecting his internal state all along. His belief in misfortune had become the lens through which he viewed life, and life, like an obedient mirror, had shown him exactly what he expected to see. The second dawn of understanding came to Benny through a simple experiment. Standing before the now clean mirror, he allowed himself to smile. The reflection smiled back instantly. No delay, no judgment, no resistance. He raised his hand. The mirror self raised its hand. He straightened his posture. His reflection did the same. The mirror did not need convincing or pleading. It simply reflected. This truth extends beyond the physical mirror to encompass all of existence. The universe mirrors your deepest beliefs and expectations with the same immediacy and precision. It does not discriminate between what you label as good or bad. It simply reflects whatever you hold in your consciousness. the practice of reflection. As you drift into sleep, feel yourself as the reflection of your highest vision, radiant, fulfilled, at peace, knowing that the mirror of life is already realigning to display the magnificence you now embody. Chapter 6. From Thought to Field. In a small coastal village, a woman named Elsie spent her nights in endless mental spirals. Like waves crashing relentlessly against rocks, her thoughts churned and tumbled, each one claiming to hold the key to her desires. She created elaborate vision boards, wrote detailed manifestation lists, and meticulously planned every aspect of her future. Yet the more she thought, the further her dreams seemed to drift. The universe operates not through the complexity of thought, but through the purity of feeling. Your mind may craft 1,000 perfect plans, but it is your heart that holds the brush that paints reality. The quantum field, that invisible canvas upon which all possibility exists, responds not to the volume of your thoughts, but to the clarity of your emotional signal. When you saturate your consciousness with endless thinking, you create static in the field, like a radio trying to broadcast on too many frequencies at once. Your signal becomes unclear, scattered across the airways of creation. The universe cannot tune in to a scattered broadcast. The key lies in emotional precision, the art of distilling your desires into their purest feeling essence. When you strip away the mental chatter, what remains is a clear tone, a single note that rings true in the quantum field. This is the language the universe understands. In another village lived a potter named Maya, who crafted the most exquisite vessels anyone had ever seen. When asked about her technique, she would smile and say, "I do not think about the clay. I feel it." She worked in complete silence, her hands moving as if guided by an invisible force. Those who watched her noticed that the more still she became, the more beautiful her creations emerged. Maya's story mirrors a fundamental truth. Creativity flows most powerfully through stillness. Her ability to quiet her mind allowed the pure intention to flow unimpeded through her hands into the clay. This is how the universe works with your intentions, through the silent language of feeling. The interpretation becomes clear. When you quiet the mind's incessant commentary, you allow your true creative power to emerge. Just as a still pond perfectly reflects the moon, a quiet mind perfectly transmits your desires to the quantum field. Ancient practice. The single thought transmission. As you drift to sleep, breathe one peaceful thought into your heart until it becomes a steady feeling of knowing, and rest in the stillness where pure emotion paints your desires onto the universe itself. Chapter 7. Gratitude as Gravity. In a sun-dappled valley where wildflowers painted the hills, Mabel spent her days yearning for divine intervention. She petitioned the heavens, bargained with fate, and pleaded for signs. Yet her desires remained distant stars, twinkling but unreachable. Through the whispers of ancient wisdom, a truth emerged. Miracles flow not from desperate pleas, but from a heart overflowing with appreciation. The universe's abundance responds not to want, but to recognition of what already is. This is the hidden teaching that transforms mere existence into boundless creation. When you stand in gratitude, you align with the natural frequency of increase. Every thank you uttered with sincerity becomes a magnetic force, drawing more reasons for thankfulness toward you. This is not mere positive thinking. It is the fundamental law of expansion. That which is appreciated appreciates. A heart filled with gratitude cannot simultaneously harbor doubt. In this space of pure appreciation, the quantum field receives clear instructions. More of this. Your thanksgiving becomes the blueprint for tomorrow's blessings. As seasons turned, Mabel discovered this truth through nature's own testimony. One morning, dark clouds gathered, bringing rain that many bemoaned. Yet Mabel, transformed by her new understanding, stood at her window and whispered, "Thank you for nourishing the seeds I cannot see." She recognized that beneath the soil, invisible to human eyes, life stirred and strengthened. Weeks later, when wildflowers burst forth in unprecedented abundance, Mabel understood. Her gratitude had participated in creation itself. By appreciating the unseen process, she had aligned with nature's own rhythm of becoming. This simple truth unveils the mechanism of manifestation. Gratitude collapses time between desire and fulfillment. When you thank the universe for what exists now, you simultaneously thank it for what is coming. Your appreciation creates a bridge between the seen and unseen realms. Think of gratitude as the master key that unlocks the storehouse of universal abundance. Each thank you signals to the field that you are ready to receive more. This is why ancient wisdom keepers taught that thanksgiving is not merely a response to blessings. It is the very catalyst that brings them forth. The quantum field responds instantaneously to the vibration of genuine gratitude. When you shift from asking to thanking, you move from the energy of lack to the energy of abundance. This vibrational shift is what the ancients called the Great Transformation. Ancient practice. As you drift into sleep, let gratitude fill you for all that is and all that's forming, knowing each thankful breath weaves unseen dreams into the fabric of your waking reality. Chapter 8. Allowing over-effort. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, Clara stood before her empty merchant's stall, her hands clenched tight around her dreams. Each morning she would force her will upon the day, demanding success through sheer determination. Yet the more she grasped, the more abundance seemed to slip through her fingers like water through stone. The universe whispers a timeless truth. Creation flourishes in the soil of relaxed attention. When you release the iron grip of control, you activate a magnetic force far greater than effort alone. This is not the passive surrender of the weak, but the powerful allowing of the wise. The law of attraction operates through the paradox of gentle power. Think of a garden. No amount of pulling will make flowers grow faster. The master gardener knows to plant with intention, then step back in trust. Your desires are seeds already planted in the quantum field. Your role is not to force their growth, but to maintain the fertile conditions of expectant joy. In the quiet moments before dawn, Clara discovered a wounded bird in her courtyard. Her first instinct was to clutch it close, protecting it with fierce intensity. The more she squeezed, the more frantically it fought to escape. Only when she loosened her hold, creating a gentle cradle with her palms, did the bird calm. To her amazement, it remained perched on her finger, choosing freely what could not be forced. This simple encounter carried the seed of ancient wisdom. What you pursue often flees, while what you peacefully allow naturally draws near. The bird taught what sages have known for millennia. True power lies not in desperate grasping, but in creating space for miracles to land. Your desires are like that bird. living things that respond to the quality of your attention. When you squeeze them with anxiety and force, you distort their natural path to you. But when you hold them in the open palms of trust, they come to rest exactly where they belong. This truth extends to every aspect of creation. Your relationships, abundance, health, and joy all respond not to force but to allowing. The universe's natural state is flow, and your only task is to align with that flow through relaxed expectancy. The law of attraction works most powerfully when you ease into its embrace. Let go of the exhausting need to control every detail. Your role is to set the intention, then step back with unwavering trust in the universal orchestration. Practice the gentle release. As you drift to sleep, release each desire like a gentle bird into the night and rest in the ease of trust, knowing the universe is already guiding every dream safely home. Chapter 9. The Physics of Joy. Along the stone pathways of an ancient marketplace, a merchant named Ellen sat at her humble stall, surrounded by ordinary wares. While others complained of slow trade and harsh conditions, Ellen's eyes sparkled with an inner light. She found delight in the smallest moments, the way sunlight danced on copper pots, the melodic calls of passing traders, the sweet aroma of spiced tea wafting through the air. What Ellen discovered was a truth as old as time itself. Joy is not merely an emotion, but a creative force that shapes the very fabric of reality. When you align yourself with the frequency of joy, you tap into the highest vibration known to the universe. This elevation of energy acts as a cosmic accelerator, drawing to you experiences that match your radiant state. The law of attraction responds not to your circumstances, but to the energy you emanate. Joy is the purest form of this creative power. It signals to the universe that you are ready to receive more of what brings you delight. This is not about denying reality or forcing false happiness. It is about finding genuine appreciation in the present moment, knowing that this very act shapes what is to come. In the bustling heart of a modern city, Ellen now works in what others might call an uninspiring office. Gray walls surround her, fluorescent lights hum overhead. Yet her laughter rings through the corridors like music, transforming the ordinary into extraordinary. She finds humor in daily challenges, shares warm smiles with colleagues, and approaches each task with lightness of spirit. Soon, others begin to gravitate toward her energy. The office atmosphere shifts subtly at first, then dramatically. Creativity flows more freely in meetings. Solutions emerge where before there were only problems. Opportunities that seemed locked begin to open. Ellen's promotion comes not from desperate striving, but as a natural response to the joyful frequency she maintains. This is the secret understood by masters throughout the ages. Joy is not the result of success, it is the cause. When you choose joy, you align with the original creative force of the universe. It is the song the Creator sang when bringing worlds into being, the vibration that sustains all life. The quantum field responds instantly to genuine joy. It recognizes this frequency as its own nature and rushes to multiply whatever carries this signature. This is why moments of pure delight often attract more reasons to be joyful. It is a self-perpetuating cycle, an upward spiral of creation. Sacred practice. As you drift to sleep, let a genuine joy fill your heart like sunlight, and rest in its warmth, knowing the universe is already weaving tomorrow to mirror the brightness you now feel. Chapter 10. Belief beyond evidence. In a small coastal town, a fisherman named Henry spent his evenings gazing at the horizon, doubting his dreams would ever sail into harbor. Each night he would review his modest catches and limited prospects, allowing uncertainty to cast long shadows over his aspirations. Yet ancient wisdom whispers that the universe mirrors not what you see, but what you believe with unwavering conviction. When you plant certainty in the soil of consciousness, reality has no choice but to grow around that immovable faith. One evening, rather than rehearsing his usual litany of doubts, Henry chose to embody the feeling of success itself. He sat in his weathered chair and allowed confidence to fill his chest, as though his desired reality had already manifested. He didn't merely imagine better days. He inhabited them, breathing the air of accomplishment, feeling the weight of abundance in his hands. Within days, the tides began to shift. New opportunities appeared like morning mist over calm waters. Larger vessels sought his expertise. Merchants requested his counsel, and the very currents he had fished for years seemed to yield their bounty more generously. The universe had responded not to his wishes, but to his certainty. This principle extends beyond the physical realm into the very architecture of creation. Faith is not a response to circumstances. It is the blueprint from which circumstances are born. When you align your inner knowing with your desired reality, you create a resonance that the quantum field must honor. Consider the tale of the mountain sage who lived in solitude. Travelers would marvel at how he remained utterly serene even when storm clouds gathered. "I do not wait for the sun to feel its warmth," he would say. "I carry its certainty within me, and the clouds part in recognition of this truth." Your beliefs are not passive observers of reality. They are active creators of it. Each moment of absolute knowing sends ripples through the fabric of existence, arranging and rearranging possibilities until they match your inner vision. Just as you trust the sun will rise without requiring proof each evening, so must you trust in the manifestation of your intentions. The universe responds not to hope or wish, but to the unshakable knowing that resides in your heart. Night after night, as you lay your head to rest, let your final thoughts be steeped in this ancient truth. What you accept as real in the depths of your being becomes the template for tomorrow's reality. Sleep not as one who waits for proof, but as one who knows the proof is already in motion. Sacred practice. As you drift into sleep, whisper, "What I imagine is truth in motion," and rest in the certainty that your reality has already transformed, moving effortlessly within the creative force that shapes all worlds. Part 2. The Dance of Creation. Chapter 11. The Art of Letting Go. In a valley between ancient mountains, Opal spent her days tightly gripping her dreams, believing that constant focus would manifest her desires more quickly. Each morning she would meticulously review her goals, clutching them close like precious gems she feared might slip away. The universe operates through a sublime paradox. That which you hold too tightly cannot flow freely into your experience. Just as water resists compression but flows effortlessly through open channels, your desires require space to materialize. Opal's transformation began when she observed children playing with soap bubbles in the village square. Those who tried to catch and keep the bubbles watched them burst in their hands. Those who simply appreciated their iridescent beauty found themselves surrounded by a dancing constellation of spheres. This simple scene awakened her to a profound truth. Manifestation thrives in the space of emotional detachment. Not detachment born of indifference, but of supreme trust. A knowing so complete that anxiety dissolves into peaceful anticipation. The law of attraction responds most powerfully to the frequency of trust. When you release your grip on outcomes, you allow the infinite intelligence of the universe to orchestrate circumstances beyond your imagining. Your role is not to direct every detail, but to maintain the vibration of absolute knowing while releasing attachment to the form your desires might take. Consider the tale of the desert merchant who visited the oasis. In his eagerness to collect water, he tightly clenched his fists, watching helplessly as the precious drops escaped through his fingers. Only when he cupped his hands gently did the water pool naturally in his palms. This merchant's experience mirrors a universal truth. Abundance flows not to those who grasp, but to those who create space to receive. Your desires are like birds. They thrive in freedom, not in cages of anxiety and control. The quantum field responds to your dominant vibration, not your constant attention. When you release an intention fully charged with your knowing, you allow it to merge with the creative force of the universe. This surrender is not abandonment, but empowerment, a recognition that your trust in the process is more powerful than your need to control it. As the evening approaches, prepare yourself for the sacred practice of conscious release. Find a comfortable position and allow your body to settle into deep relaxation. Feel the weight of your desires, all that you wish to manifest in your life. Now, with each breath, imagine these desires as luminous balloons, each one filled with the light of your intentions. One by one, picture yourself releasing these balloons into the vast starlit sky. Watch them rise with perfect trust, knowing that the universe receives each one as a divine instruction. Feel the lightness that comes with release, the peace that flows into the space where anxiety once lived. This practice of letting go becomes your nightly offering to the quantum field, a demonstration of your trust in its infinite wisdom. As you drift toward sleep, carry this gentle knowing. Your desires are safe in the hands of the universe, manifesting in ways more beautiful than your mind could conceive. The real power lies not in holding on, but in letting go with absolute faith. Release is not loss. It is the beginning of reception. Chapter 12. The Quantum Mirror. In a small mountain town, a young watchmaker named Freddie dedicated his life to studying the intricate mechanisms of timepieces. Each morning, he would sit at his workbench, peering through his loupe at the delicate gears and springs before him. Yet despite his precision with watches, his life felt perpetually misaligned until he discovered the sacred truth about thought projection. The quantum field knows no separation between inner vision and outer manifestation. Like a projector casting images onto a screen, your consciousness broadcasts its contents into the fabric of reality. This projection occurs ceaselessly, whether you direct it intentionally or allow it to play unwanted reruns of past disappointments. When you understand this principle, you realize the profound responsibility of mental cinema. Each thought image ripples outward, gathering substance, attracting similar frequencies until it manifests as tangible experience. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, does not judge the quality of your mental film. It simply ensures faithful reproduction. Watch closely the images you allow to occupy your inner screen. Notice how your daily experience mirrors the movies playing in your mind. If worry dominates your mental theater, circumstances arise that justify that worry. When peace fills your inner viewing room, your outer world arranges itself to match that serenity. Consider now the tale of Ming, a merchant who traveled between distant cities. Each evening before rest, Ming would replay scenes of misfortune in his mind: thieves on the road, storms destroying his goods, customers refusing to trade. Day after day, his journey manifested these very challenges, until an old sage taught him to change his mental screening. "The eyes may see what is," the sage whispered, "but the heart projects what will be." That night, Ming began viewing different scenes in his mind's eye: safe passages, fair weather, prosperous trades. Within days, his reality shifted to match his new mental cinema. His route became peaceful, the weather favorable, and his business flourished. This simple truth reveals itself. You are both the projectionist and the audience of your life's film. The scenes you replay most frequently become the script the universe must follow. Every thought image sends ripples through the quantum field, attracting corresponding circumstances, people, and events. The power lies not in forcing new thoughts, but in mindfully selecting which mental movies deserve your attention. Like a skilled film editor, you have the authority to cut scenes that no longer serve your highest vision. Each moment offers a choice. Which internal film will you play? Sacred practice, the projectionist's ritual. As you drift to sleep, become the projectionist of your own reality, clearing the reels of doubt and casting vivid scenes of your highest desires upon the screen of consciousness, knowing the universe will faithfully bring them to life by morning's light. Chapter 13. Momentum of Faith. A weaver sat at her loom day after day, threading golden strands into a tapestry that existed first in her mind. Betsy's hands moved steadily, yet doubt would creep in when the pattern emerged slower than she hoped. Through the passing seasons, she learned that creation follows its own sacred timing. The universe operates through momentum, not immediacy. Like a mighty wheel beginning its turn, manifestation often starts imperceptibly before gathering unstoppable force. Your role is not to push against time, but to maintain the pure frequency of your intention until physical reality aligns with your inner vision. When you plant a seed, you do not dig it up each day to check its progress. The same wisdom applies to your dreams and desires. The lag between spiritual cause and physical effect tests not your worthiness, but your constancy. Every thought of faith adds energy to the momentum of manifestation. The quantum field responds not to sporadic bursts of belief, but to sustained vibration. Think of each aligned thought as a drop of water joining a stream. One drop alone may seem insignificant, but the accumulated flow carves new channels through solid stone. Your consistent focus builds similar momentum in the fabric of reality. This truth revealed itself to Raphael, a humble potter who crafted vessels of extraordinary beauty. Each day, he sat at his wheel, hands steady, vision clear. For months, his work seemed ordinary, yet he maintained his joyful expectation of excellence. Then one morning, as if by magic, his hands began creating masterpieces that reflected the perfection he had long held in his heart. The clay did not suddenly change, he would say to those who marveled at the transformation. My belief simply gathered enough momentum to reshape matter itself. Raphael's story mirrors the fundamental law of spiritual physics. Persistence in positive expectation generates unstoppable creative force. Like a train beginning its journey, the initial movement may seem slow and laborious. Yet once momentum builds, that same train becomes an unstoppable force of nature. Your dreams follow this same principle. Each moment of unwavering faith adds to the momentum of manifestation. The key lies not in forcing results, but in maintaining steady joy regardless of apparent progress. Let your belief be like the rotation of the earth, constant, unhurried, and utterly certain of its path. Sacred practice, the momentum meditation. As you drift to sleep, feel the great wheel of your desire turning effortlessly, powered by divine momentum, and rest in the knowing that your good flows toward you with perfect timing and unstoppable grace. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14. Parallel Possibilities. In a garden filled with morning light, Phoebe sat beneath a blooming cherry tree, her eyes closed in quiet contemplation. Each morning she visited this sacred space, not in physical form, but through the doorway of consciousness. She had learned that what appeared to be one fixed life was actually an ocean of infinite possibilities, each existing simultaneously. The quantum field holds every version of your desired reality, not as mere potential, but as living, breathing experiences awaiting your selection. Like frequencies on a radio dial, these parallel dimensions vibrate side by side. Your attention, your emotional resonance, determines which station plays in your physical experience. When you understand this truth, manifestation transforms from creation to selection. You need not build your dreams from scratch. They already exist in full detail. Your task is simply to tune your consciousness to their frequency until they materialize in your tangible world. Through the veils between worlds, Phoebe learned to sense the version of herself already living her heart's desires. At first, this felt like imagination, a pleasant daydream of success and fulfillment. But as she continued her practice, something extraordinary occurred. The boundary between imagined and real began to dissolve. In the stillness of her meditation, she walked through her dream life, feeling its textures, breathing its air, experiencing its joy. She noticed how this version of herself moved through the world with grace and certainty. This was not mere visualization, it was dimensional travel through consciousness. A merchant named Zain discovered this same principle while organizing his wares. Each morning he would sit quietly, experiencing the reality where his shop flourished with abundance. He felt the weight of coins in his hands, heard the cheerful voices of satisfied customers, and experienced the warmth of success in his heart. Within months, his physical shop began to mirror this inner experience precisely. "I did not create this prosperity," Zayn would say. "I simply learned to live in the version of reality where it already existed until that dimension became my home." Your consciousness is the bridge between parallel realities. Each thought, each feeling, each moment of focused attention acts as a tuning fork, resonating with its matching dimension. When you maintain the frequency of your desired experience with sufficient consistency, the quantum field has no choice but to shift your physical reality to match. Sacred practice. Dimensional alignment. As you drift to sleep, rest your awareness in the reality where your desires already live, feeling it, breathing it, until the quantum field rearranges your world to match the frequency you've chosen. Chapter 15. The Frequency of Forgiveness. A merchant trudged along a mountain path, his shoulders bent beneath an invisible weight. Walter carried more than his trading goods. He bore the crushing burden of past hurts, each grievance collected like stones in an ever-growing sack. With every step, memories of betrayals, broken promises, and perceived wrongs weighed heavier upon his spirit. Each night, Walter would recount his ledger of grievances, unknowingly reinforcing the patterns that kept his desires at bay. The universe, in its infinite wisdom, could only match his inner frequency, one of resistance, judgment, and pain. The law of creation operates through the path of least resistance. When you hold on to past hurts, you create energetic blockages that prevent the free flow of manifestation. These emotional anchors keep you tethered to old stories, replaying cycles that no longer serve your highest good. Consider that each resentment acts as a magnetic force, attracting similar experiences. The energy you invest in maintaining grievances becomes the very power that could fuel your transformation. Every moment spent in judgment freezes potential in place, like water turning to ice, beautiful perhaps, but unable to flow. The quantum field responds not to what you want, but to what you are being. When your inner world is cluttered with unresolved emotions, the universe can only reflect that chaos back to you. Forgiveness is not about condoning actions or forgetting wisdom gained. It is about energetic liberation. In the marketplace one day, Walter encountered an old wise woman who shared a simple truth. The weight you carry is not your burden to bear. It is merely energy asking to be released. That night, Walter dreamed of walking the same mountain path, but this time he noticed how the heavy bag he carried was filled with nothing but air. In a moment of clarity, he simply let go. The bag dissolved into light, and suddenly his steps became lighter, his path clearer, his journey effortless. This tale mirrors your own potential for release. Each act of forgiveness creates space for new possibilities to enter. When you free others from your judgments, you simultaneously free yourself from the bonds that limit your creative power. Understand that forgiveness is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of power. By choosing to release the charge of past events, you reclaim the energy once spent maintaining those emotional barriers. This reclaimed power becomes available for manifesting your desires. The practice of quantum forgiveness. As you drift toward sleep, release all with love, those you've hurt, those who've hurt you and yourself, and feel peace rise within as forgiveness frees your soul to dream in the lightness of new creation. Chapter 16. The Infinite Now. A young woman named Hazel lived each day with her dreams perpetually scheduled for tomorrow. Like marking dates on an endless calendar, she pushed her desires into a future that seemed to stretch further away with each sunset. "When the time is right," she would say, not realizing that by relegating her dreams to some distant horizon, she kept them forever out of reach. The law of creation knows no tomorrow. It operates solely in the eternal present moment. Your power to manifest exists only in the now, for it is here that consciousness shapes reality. When you project your desires into a mythical future, you unknowingly tell the universe, "Not yet." And the universe, being the perfect mirror of your consciousness, complies by keeping those desires in a perpetual state of "not yet." This truth reveals itself through vibration. Every thought, every feeling you hold creates a frequency in this moment. That frequency does not wait for tomorrow to manifest. It broadcasts instantly into the quantum field. When you say, "I will be successful," the universe hears the current vibration of lack. When you declare, "I am successful," you transmit the frequency of fulfillment now. Time itself bends to consciousness. In the marketplace, Hazel observed an old mirror maker at work. As she watched, he explained, "The reflection appears the instant you stand before the glass. It doesn't wait, it doesn't prepare, it simply is." This simple observation carried profound wisdom. Reality mirrors your present state of being, not your future intentions. The mirror maker shared another truth. When you clean a mirror, the reflection clarifies immediately. It doesn't gradually become clearer tomorrow or next week. Such is the way of consciousness. Change your vibration now, and reality must shift in kind. This revelation transformed Hazel's understanding. She realized that by living in someday energy, she had been cleaning a mirror that never existed while neglecting the one before her. The power to create had always been in her present moment consciousness. Your vibration is not building toward a future manifestation. It is creating now. Each night, as you prepare for sleep, you enter the most potent creative state. This is not a time for planning tomorrow, but for being in the immediacy of your desire fulfilled. Ancient practice of nowness. As you drift into sleep, rest in the knowing that your desire is already here. Whisper, "It is happening now," and let the fullness of the present moment cradle you in the power of creation realized. Chapter 17. The Thoughtless Mind. In a small mountain village there lived a man named Virgil who spent his days in constant mental activity, his thoughts racing like leaves in an autumn storm. Each morning he would meticulously visualize his desires, repeat his affirmations, and focus intensely on his goals. Yet the more he thought about what he wanted, the more distant it seemed to become. Within the quantum field of infinite possibility, your point of attraction is determined not by the quantity of your thoughts, but by their coherence. When the mind becomes still, it achieves a state of pure potentiality, a crystalline clarity through which the universe can work unimpeded. Virgil's breakthrough came unexpectedly. After months of ceaseless mental effort, he fell ill with a fever that left him too weak to maintain his usual rigorous practice of visualization and affirmation. In this forced state of mental surrender, something remarkable occurred. The very opportunity he had been striving to create appeared effortlessly before him, like a butterfly landing on an unmoving hand. The universe operates through perfect efficiency. When you release the mental static of excessive thinking, you allow the natural intelligence of creation to arrange circumstances with an elegance that the conscious mind cannot comprehend. Your desires manifest not through the force of will, but through the power of allowance. This truth was further illuminated in Virgil's garden. For weeks, he had obsessed over a rare flower he planted, checking it countless times each day. no growth appeared. Then, absorbed in other tasks, he forgot about the plant entirely. Upon rediscovering it weeks later, he found it blooming magnificently. Its petals opened fully in the absence of his anxious attention. Your consciousness is like water. When stirred constantly, it becomes clouded and turbid. But when allowed to settle, it achieves perfect clarity, reflecting the sky above and revealing the depths below. In this stillness, manifestation occurs naturally, unforced by mental activity. The interpretation is clear. Resistance often wears the mask of excessive thinking. When you release the mental grip on your desires, you create space for them to materialize. The universe requires no convincing. It awaits only your surrender. Ancient practice of the silent mind. As you drift to sleep, watch your thoughts float away like autumn leaves on still water, until only peace remains, an open channel through which the universe gently flows your desires into being. Chapter 18. The Subconscious Symphony. In a garden draped with morning mist, a young woman named Daisy tended to her flowers, puzzled by life's mysterious patterns. Each day seemed to echo the whispers of her nighttime thoughts, though she had yet to grasp the profound connection between them. The subconscious mind is not merely a vault of memories. It is the master conductor of your reality's symphony. Those quiet moments before sleep serve as the rehearsal hall where tomorrow's melodies are composed. When you understand this truth, you realize that each night offers an opportunity to orchestrate your destiny. The law of attraction operates most powerfully through your subconscious mind. During those drowsy moments between wakefulness and sleep, the analytical mind softens its grip, allowing your deeper consciousness to receive pure instruction. This twilight state is when manifestation finds its purest expression. Daisy discovered this truth through an unexpected harmony. Each night before sleep, she would hum a simple melody that reminded her of abundance and joy. She noticed that during her days, this same tune would drift to her from passing cars, store speakers, and even strangers whistling on the street. These synchronicities were not coincidence. They were the universe reflecting her subconscious song. Your thoughts before sleep are like notes written on the cosmic score. The subconscious mind takes these notes and plays them through the instrument of reality. It knows no difference between what you desire and what already exists. It simply conducts the frequency you provide. Another tale speaks of Daisy's revelation when she began keeping a dream journal. She noticed that her nights filled with worry preceded challenging days, while evenings spent in gratitude birthed mornings of unexpected gifts. The subconscious had been faithfully orchestrating her reality all along, following the emotional sheet music she provided each night. The key lies not in forcing new thoughts, but in allowing your chosen frequency to settle gently into the subconscious realm. Like a melody that softens as it carries across still water, your intentions should drift peacefully into sleep's embrace. Ancient practice. As you drift to sleep, cradle a single feeling, abundance, joy, or peace, and let it lull you into rest, knowing the universe will dance to the melody your heart composes tonight. Chapter 19. Trusting the Unseen Hand. In the depths of night, when the conscious mind surrenders its guard, your subconscious becomes the master composer of reality's grand symphony. Through this sacred doorway, every feeling and image you carry becomes a note in tomorrow's melody. A man named Clyde lived by careful planning, attempting to conduct every measure of his life through sheer will. Each morning, he would create detailed lists and schedules, convinced that control meant forcing every element into its proper place. Yet despite his meticulous efforts, life seemed to resist his rigid orchestration. The universe operates through an intelligence far beyond human logic. Like a master composer, it arranges countless elements in perfect harmony, a harmony that often eludes our limited perception. Your role is not to direct every note, but to set the theme through your vibration and allow the cosmic symphony to unfold. One day, while struggling to organize an important business presentation, Clyde experienced a profound shift. After hours of frustration, he finally released his grip on the outcome, surrendering to a deeper wisdom. To his amazement, the next morning brought an unexpected email containing exactly the information he needed. A colleague spontaneously offered crucial support, and a last-minute venue change provided better facilities than he had originally planned. The law of attraction works through this invisible orchestration. When you align with its flow rather than resist it, life arranges itself with an elegance no amount of forcing could achieve. This truth becomes most apparent in those moments when you step back and allow the universe to conduct its symphony. In another instance, Clyde found himself facing a complex situation involving multiple parties and seemingly conflicting schedules. Instead of his usual approach of trying to control every detail, he held the intention of perfect resolution and released it to the field. Within days, the pieces fell into place effortlessly. Meetings aligned, resources appeared, and solutions emerged that he could never have engineered himself. This experience reveals a fundamental truth. The quantum field contains infinite intelligence, orchestrating countless variables with perfect precision. Your task is not to micromanage creation, but to trust in this unseen wisdom. Sacred practice. As you drift to sleep, surrender to the cosmic orchestra and rest in the knowing that all is being arranged perfectly, every note of your life conducted in divine harmony. Chapter 20. Harmony with Desire. There once lived a woman named Nancy who carried a heavy burden, not of possessions, but of guilt. Each time her heart whispered of grander dreams, she silenced it, believing that yearning for more meant ingratitude for what she had. At night, she would lie awake, her desires fighting against the walls of shame she had built around them. The universe knows a truth that many have forgotten. Desire is not greed, it is guidance. When your soul stirs with longing for expansion, it speaks the language of the infinite. This stirring emerges from the same force that causes seeds to reach toward sunlight and rivers to flow toward oceans. It is the voice of life itself calling you toward your next evolution. Your desires are cosmic coordinates, programmed into your being by divine intelligence. They are not random wants, but sacred signals pointing toward your highest expression. When you feel the pull toward something more, whether it be love, abundance, creativity, or joy, you are receiving transmission from your highest self. A musician named Samuel once taught Nancy a lesson she would never forget. As she visited his workshop one afternoon, he handed her an old guitar. "Try tuning it," he suggested. When she tightened the strings too much, one snapped with a sharp crack. When she left them too loose, they produced only dull, lifeless sounds. "The sweet spot," Samuel explained, "lies in the balance." Like those guitar strings, desire requires perfect tension. Too much attachment creates stress and resistance. Too little engagement leads to stagnation. When you find the middle path, acknowledging your desires while releasing desperate grip, the universe can play through you its perfect melody. This tale mirrors the art of conscious creation. Your desires are not meant to be suppressed through guilt, nor clutched with desperation. They are meant to be held in sacred balance, acknowledged with joy, released with trust. When you honor the wanting as much as the having, you align with the natural flow of universal abundance. The presence of desire within you is evidence that expansion awaits. Just as a flower doesn't apologize for reaching toward light, you need not apologize for reaching toward your dreams. Your wanting is holy. It is the universe's way of calling you into your next becoming. Sacred practice. As you prepare for sleep tonight, place one hand on your heart. Feel the desires that live there, not with guilt, but with reverence. Whisper to them softly, "I honor you as divine guidance. Through you, I grow. Through you, I become." Let this acceptance be your lullaby as you drift into dreams, knowing that your desires are not just allowed, but divinely ordained. Part 3. The Embodied Creator. Chapter 21. Embodiment of the Vision. In a sunlit apartment overlooking city streets, Ruth stood before her mirror each morning, rehearsing a life she thought lay far ahead. She would mimic the gestures of success, practice confident smiles, and then return to her real self, waiting for someday to arrive. Yet transformation remained elusive until she understood a fundamental truth. Observation perpetuates separation. The quantum field responds not to what you wish to become, but to who you are being in this moment. When you observe your desired reality as something separate from yourself, you maintain the vibration of distance. This distance becomes your creation, an eternal gap between where you stand and where you long to be. The shift occurs when you cross the bridge from observer to embodiment. Your energy field knows no distinction between what you deeply feel and what physically exists. It responds purely to the frequency you emanate. When you truly inhabit the consciousness of your desired reality, you transmit a signal that the universe must match. Consider the tale of a desert merchant named Amir. For years, he dreamed of owning a vast trading empire. Each evening he would imagine his future self, successful, respected, abundant. But his fortunes changed only when he ceased to admire this future version from afar and began to move, speak, and make decisions as that version of himself in the present moment. His reality reshaped itself to match his new frequency of being. This principle reveals itself through every aspect of creation. The universe does not respond to what you want. It responds to what you are. Desire without embodiment is like planting seeds on the surface of soil. They cannot take root. But when you sink fully into the consciousness of your fulfilled self, you create a magnetic field that draws corresponding circumstances into physical form. The moment Ruth stopped rehearsing success and began living it internally, making choices from that elevated awareness, responding to life from that expanded consciousness, external reality had no choice but to conform. Her presence began emanating the frequency of fulfillment rather than wanting, and life orchestrated itself accordingly. Your physical reality is not the cause of who you are. It is the effect of who you are being. Every cell of your body, Every particle of your energy field is broadcasting who you are in this moment. When you shift from observing to being your desired reality, you alter this broadcast at its source. Sacred practice. As you fall asleep, rest as the self already fulfilled, breathing, being, and radiating quiet certainty, as reality reshapes itself to the frequency you now embody. Chapter 22. Love as Frequency Carrier. In a small coastal village, a fisherman named Lyle spent his days casting nets into seemingly empty waters, struggling to catch enough fish to sustain himself. Each morning he would row out with determination, his thoughts fixed solely on the goal of a full catch. Yet day after day, his nets returned nearly empty. One dawn, exhausted from his efforts, Lyle noticed an elderly woman feeding seabirds by the shore. Her face glowed with such joy as she scattered crumbs that the birds appeared to dance around her, creating a symphony of wings and calls. Watching her, Lyle felt something shift within his heart. The next morning, instead of focusing on his catch, Lyle began appreciating the sea itself. He thanked the waves for their endless motion, honored the wind for its guidance, and blessed the fish for their sacred role in the ocean's dance. To his amazement, his nets began filling with ease, often overflowing before the morning mist had lifted. When you infuse your intentions with pure love, you activate the highest creative force in existence. Love is not merely an emotion. It is the primary language of the universe, the very frequency through which all things come into being. The universe does not simply respond to your desires. It responds to the love you embed within them. Consider how a garden flourishes under the tender care of one who loves each plant, compared to the mechanical maintenance of one who merely tends to duty. Love accelerates growth, harmonizes elements, and dissolves resistance naturally, without force or strain. A merchant in a distant land once spent years attempting to build a thriving marketplace through careful strategy and ceaseless planning. His breakthrough came only when he began loving the community he served, cherishing each interaction and delighting in the joy his wares brought to others. His shop transformed from a place of commerce into a sanctuary of shared appreciation, and abundance flowed effortlessly. Love holds the power to transmute any situation because it aligns you instantly with the creative force that birthed universes. When you love unconditionally, your dreams, your current reality, even your challenges, you enter into partnership with the infinite. Obstacles dissolve not because you fought them, but because love revealed their illusion. Sacred practice. As you drift into sleep, let love pour from your heart until it embraces everything, past and future, self and cosmos, one boundless field of eternal light. Chapter 23. The Spiral of Expansion. In a modest garden, June tended her newly bloomed roses with quiet satisfaction. Each morning she marveled at their beauty, yet found herself yearning for more. Different colors, varied fragrances, expanded beds. This pattern repeated throughout her life. Achievements that once seemed ultimate transformed into stepping stones toward grander visions. The universe speaks through the language of endless unfoldment. What appears as discontent is actually the sacred pulse of expansion coursing through your being. Each desire fulfilled opens doorways to greater possibilities, not because what you have is insufficient, but because growth is the natural state of consciousness. When you align with this truth, manifestation becomes a flowing dance rather than a fixed destination. The moment you grasp one dream, another beckons, not from lack, but from the infinite nature of your spirit. This is not the restlessness of an unfulfilled soul, but the stirring of divine creativity expressing itself through you. Consider how a tree, having reached full height, continues to spread its branches, deepen its roots, and produce new leaves each spring. It does not question this eternal cycle of growth. Similarly, your expanding desires are not signs of failure, but confirmation that you are alive, connected to the endless stream of universal becoming. In the high mountains, a young woman named June discovered this wisdom while climbing an ancient stone stairway. With each step conquered, new steps emerged from the mist above. At first, this seemed daunting. Would there never be an end? But as she climbed, something shifted in her understanding. The joy was not in reaching a final platform, but in the grace of each ascending step, each widening vista, each new height revealing itself. The stairs were not an endless task to be completed, but an invitation to eternal discovery. June found herself smiling as she climbed, her heart light with the knowledge that there would always be another step, another view, another moment of wonder waiting to unfold. This eternal dance of fulfillment and expansion mirrors the very nature of the universe itself. Each manifested desire carries within it the seed of greater expression, like a flower whose blooming signals not an ending, but a beginning, the start of seed formation, the promise of future gardens. Your role in this cosmic dance is not to reach some final state of completion, but to move in harmony with the natural flow of expansion. Each manifestation is perfect and complete in itself, while simultaneously opening doors to new possibilities. Ancient practice of eternal flow. As you drift to sleep, rest in gratitude for what is and softly welcome what's next, letting contentment and curiosity blend into one radiant melody of divine unfolding. Chapter 24. Conscious Rest. In the heart of a bustling marketplace, a silk merchant named Delia worked tirelessly from dawn until dusk. Each evening she collapsed into bed, believing productivity meant constant motion. Her dreams felt like interruptions in her path to success, moments when creation stood still. One evening, an old sage visited her shop as she frantically arranged her wares. "Your silk is beautiful," he observed, "but do you notice how it flows best when you allow it to settle naturally?" He gestured to a piece that had fallen perfectly into place after she had stopped adjusting it. The universal law of creative rest reveals itself through nature's wisdom. Like the pause between breaths, the space between heartbeats, or the stillness of winter before spring's emergence, rest isn't the opposite of creation. It is creation's deepest current. During sleep, your consciousness enters its most powerful creative state, free from the resistance of waking thought. Think of your mind as a lake. During waking hours, it ripples with countless thoughts and intentions. But in sleep, the surface grows still, allowing the deeper currents to move with greater power. This stillness isn't emptiness. It is pure potential taking form. Your nightly rest serves as the quantum field's most direct access to manifestation. As your conscious mind releases its grip, your pure intention flows unobstructed into the fabric of reality. Sleep becomes your ally in creation, your partner in manifesting, working tirelessly while you surrender to its embrace. Consider how a garden grows most vigorously during the night. Your dreams and desires follow the same natural law. They expand most powerfully in the soil of rest. This is why those who master manifestation understand that pushing and striving often achieve less than peaceful allowing. A wandering musician once taught Delia's neighbor the secret of perfect harmony. "The most beautiful notes," he said, "arise not from the strings I pluck, but from the spaces between them." That night, as she watched him perform, she noticed how his moments of pause gave life to the melody. This truth mirrors your own creative power. The space of rest between your conscious intentions allows the universe to weave its magic. Your sleep isn't a pause in manifestation. It is manifestation's most sacred workshop. In embracing this wisdom, you align with the natural rhythm of creation. Your dreams become not escapes from reality, but blueprints for its emergence. Your rest becomes not withdrawal from life, but immersion in its creative source. The practice of sacred rest. As you prepare for sleep, place your hands over your heart and softly affirm, "My rest creates realities." Feel your body sink into the profound truth that in stillness you are most powerful. Let your breath become soft and regular, knowing that each peaceful moment draws your desires closer into form. Allow sleep to arrive not as unconsciousness, but as a shift into your highest creative frequency. Chapter 25. Vibrational Integrity. In a grand concert hall, a violinist named Harold performed each day with brilliant enthusiasm. His daytime performances drew standing ovations. Yet in the solitude of night, his private rehearsals betrayed a different song, one of uncertainty and fear. Though his fingers moved with the same precision, the music lacked its soul when no audience watched. The universal truth whispers that your energy must maintain its melody across all hours. Like a tuning fork that cannot strike two notes at once, your vibration cannot sustain conflicting frequencies. Your conscious declarations of faith during daylight hours become undermined by midnight whispers of doubt. When you stand divided against yourself, the universe receives mixed signals. It is not enough to speak prosperity while your heart harbors lack, or to proclaim confidence while your dreams echo fear. The law of coherence demands alignment between your outer performance and inner truth. Think of your energy as an orchestra. Each thought, feeling, and belief represents a different instrument. When these play in harmony, reality has no choice but to reflect that symphony. But when your inner strings vibrate at odds with one another, even the most skilled conductor cannot create music from discord. In the ancient temple of manifestation, a master musician once shared wisdom that transcends time. The instrument that plays one true note serves harmony better than the one that plays 1,000 in conflict. This truth applies to your own creative power. Better to maintain one aligned vibration than to scatter your energy across competing frequencies. Harold discovered this one evening while preparing for a crucial performance. In the practice room, a wise stagehand observed his struggle and approached with gentle insight. "The strings of your violin," she said, "respond not to what you show the world, but to what you feel within. When these align, music flows without effort." That night, as Harold sat with his instrument, He stopped trying to force the perfect sound. Instead, he allowed his genuine feelings to flow through the strings. The music that emerged was unlike anything he'd played before. Not technically superior, but authentically alive. The next day's performance transformed not because he played differently, but because he had aligned his inner and outer symphonies. Your manifestations follow this same principle. When your daylight declarations match your midnight musings, when your public faith aligns with your private thoughts, you create a coherent signal that the universe can clearly receive and reflect. The practice of inner alignment. As you prepare for rest, place one hand over your heart and one hand on your forehead. Feel the space between them as your personal orchestra. Let every thought, every emotion, every belief align to a single pure tone. Breathe deeply and affirm with your whole being, I am ready. Let this truth resonate through every cell until your entire being hums in perfect harmony. Remember, harmony works faster than hustle. Sleep is one who knows that aligned energy creates effortlessly. Chapter 26. Receiving Without Resistance. In a small mountain village, there lived a weaver named Minnie who spent her days crafting beautiful tapestries. Each morning she would send prayers into the dawn, asking for her work to be seen and valued. Yet when travelers expressed interest in her creations, she would hide them away, convinced they weren't worthy of appreciation. Through countless cycles of asking and deflecting, Minnie maintained a peculiar dance with the universe. Her prayers rose like incense, but her hands remained closed to catch the answers. The village elder observed this pattern and shared an ancient truth. The river flows both ways. To dam one direction is to stop the flow entirely. The universe operates through perfect equilibrium. When you cast your desires into the quantum field, an equal response must follow. It is law. Yet this response requires a receiver, just as music needs both instrument and audience. Your acceptance completes the circuit of creation, allowing energy to flow freely between intention and manifestation. Like a radio must be tuned to receive broadcasts already filling the air, your energy field must be calibrated to welcome what you've requested. Many stand in gardens of abundance, yet keep their eyes shut, declaring themselves in a desert. The art of receiving is not passive. It is an active force of alignment. Once, Minnie found an ornate box on her doorstep. A note attached read, "For the Master Weaver." Days passed as she convinced herself it must be meant for someone else. The box remained unopened, its contents, a commission from the royal court, waiting for her to grant herself permission to receive such honor. This mirrors the way many hold manifestation at arm's length. The universe responds instantly to every request, yet the gift remains unwrapped until you acknowledge your worthiness to receive it. Your acceptance is not pride. It is alignment with the natural order of give and take. Consider how flowers turn to face the sun without questioning if they deserve its warmth. They understand at a cellular level that receiving light is their birthright. Similarly, your ability to receive is not earned. It is inherent in your existence. The moment Minnie finally opened the box, accepting her role as Master Weaver, her entire reality shifted. Orders flowed in, appreciation multiplied, and her art touched lives far beyond the village. Nothing had changed except her willingness to receive what was already trying to reach her. Your relationship with receiving directly impacts the speed and clarity of manifestation. When you trust in your worthiness to receive, you remove the final barrier between asking and having. This is not about deserving. It is about allowing the natural completion of a universal cycle. Sacred practice. As you drift toward sleep, breathe in the universe's love and rest in the knowing that you were always worthy, ready to receive the abundance already on its way. Chapter 27. The Quantum Echo. In the quietest corner of an ancient city, a merchant named Frank counted his losses each evening, marking them in a worn ledger. Night after night he traced the same patterns of scarcity, watching as his wealth ebbed and flowed in predictable cycles of lack. The numbers told a story he knew by heart, one of struggle and limitation that seemed to repeat without end. Until one evening, while studying his familiar patterns of loss, Frank noticed something extraordinary. It wasn't the numbers that created his reality, but the thoughts he carried about them. Each time he opened his ledger, he brought with him the same fears, the same expectations, the same story of never enough. The universe operates through precise vibrational laws, each thought carrying its own resonance that echoes through the quantum field until matched in physical form. When you hold a thought pattern, whether of abundance or lack, it becomes a frequency that must find its mirror in your experience. This is not punishment or reward, but the pure physics of creation. Your unhealed thoughts are not mere memories. They are active broadcasts sending signals into the field of infinite possibility. Each worry, each doubt, each unresolved fear amplifies itself until addressed at its root. Like a song stuck on repeat, these patterns will play until you consciously introduce a new note into the melody. Consider the merchant who lived next door to Frank, an elderly woman who had also faced cycles of scarcity. Yet one day, she chose to alter a single thought. Instead of greeting each morning with anxiety about her store's success, she welcomed each customer as though abundance had already arrived. This subtle shift in her inner chorus created a new resonance, and gradually her reality began dancing to a different tune. Frank observed this transformation and recognized a profound truth. Patterns persist not because they are destined, but because they remain unconscious. Each repetition carries a message, waiting to be decoded by awareness. The cycle continues not as punishment, but as invitation, an opportunity to choose again, to sing a different note, to write a new story in the ledger of life. The field of creation responds not to what you want to change, but to what you have shifted within yourself. It mirrors not your intentions, but your attained consciousness. This is why mere positive thinking often falls short. It attempts to paste new lyrics over an old melody instead of changing the song itself. In the practice of conscious creation, awareness becomes your tuning fork. When you notice a pattern repeating, it signals not failure, but readiness. Readiness to introduce a new frequency into your vibrational offering. This is not about forcing change, but about allowing a natural evolution of your energetic signature. The ancient practice. As you fall asleep, gently replace one old pattern with a new feeling, letting peace or certainty take root, and trust that as your inner note shifts, the universe retunes itself to your new harmony. Chapter 28. The Alchemy of Contrast. In a quiet village among ancient hills, Polly spent her days cursing the shadows that seemed to follow her path. Each obstacle felt like a personal affront, each setback a cruel joke of fate. She would gaze at the mountains blocking her view of the sunset, lamenting how they obscured her perfect vision of the horizon. One evening, as storm clouds gathered overhead, an old weaver visited her home. The woman worked at her loom, creating intricate tapestries that captivated all who beheld them. As Polly voiced her frustrations about the darkness of the approaching storm, the weaver smiled knowingly. "Notice how I weave," she said, her fingers dancing across the threads. "Without the dark threads, you would never see the pattern of light. Each shadow in my work makes the bright threads sing." Through this simple wisdom, Polly began to understand that what she perceived as obstacles were actually defining the shape of her desires more clearly. Her challenges weren't barriers, but rather the very elements that gave form to her aspirations. The universe speaks through contrast. Every experience that seems to push against your desires serves as a precise instructor, teaching you exactly what you do want. When you encounter what you don't want, the energy of your being surges toward what you do want with newfound clarity and power. This is the quantum paradox of creation. Resistance, when embraced with awareness, becomes rocket fuel for manifestation. Each contrast point serves as a launching pad, propelling you toward greater alignment with your chosen reality. The very presence of what you don't want creates an energetic vacuum that pulls what you do want into being. Just as a sculptor needs the negative space to define the form, your dreams take shape through the interplay of light and shadow. The universe doesn't send you contrast to discourage you. It offers these experiences as tools of refinement, each one sharpening the frequency of your desire. In another village lived a painter named Zhang, who was known for his masterful use of light and shadow. Students would come to him, frustrated when their paintings appeared flat and lifeless. Zhang would smile and reach for the darkest pigments on his palette. "Watch," he would say, adding deep shadows to their work. "See how the light now leaps from the canvas? We cannot paint light itself. We can only reveal it through shadow." His students learned that what they had feared, the dark paint that might ruin their work, was precisely what gave their paintings depth and vitality. Through Zhang's guidance, they discovered that embracing shadow was the secret to manifesting light. The quantum field responds not to your resistance of what is unwanted, but to your clear recognition of what is desired. Each contrast point serves as a precision tuning fork, helping you refine your vibrational frequency. When you bless the contrast, you transform it from obstacle to opportunity. Practice. As you drift to sleep, thank each challenge for revealing your desires more clearly, and let gratitude guide you into dreams where tomorrow's beauty is already unfolding. Chapter 29. The Circle Completed. In a bustling metropolis of gleaming towers and endless noise, Ivy pursued spiritual knowledge with fierce determination. Her shelves groaned under the weight of esoteric texts, her calendar filled with workshops and retreats. Each new teaching promised the key to enlightenment, yet something essential remained elusive. One morning, exhausted from another sleepless night of study, she gazed at her reflection and barely recognized herself. The pursuit of wisdom had become another form of striving, another layer of complexity, separating her from what she sought. The truth that transforms arrives not through accumulation, but through remembrance. You are not separate from the source you seek. You are its expression in form. The quantum field is not external to you. It is the very substance of your being. Like a wave, remembering it is ocean. Awakening is simply the recognition of what already is. This understanding comes not through effort, but through allowing. The mind that strains to grasp truth is like hands clenching water. The tighter you squeeze, the more it slips away. When you release the need to understand, understanding flows naturally. When you cease trying to be spiritual, your inherent divinity shines forth. Consider the sun. It does not effort to shine, nor does the rose strain to bloom. Your natural state is alignment with Source. All practices, all teachings, all paths ultimately lead to this simple truth. You are what you seek. In a distant village lived a traveler named Chen who spent years searching sacred sites for enlightenment. He crossed deserts, climbed mountains, and studied with renowned masters. After decades of seeking, he returned home weary and disappointed. While tending his long-neglected garden, he discovered a simple stone, weathered and ordinary. As he held it, sunlight caught its surface, revealing patterns that mirrored the cosmos. In that moment, Chen understood. The treasure he sought across the world had always been present in his own garden. This tale mirrors your own journey. The power you seek through complex methods already resides within you. Your connection to Source requires no intermediary, no elaborate ritual, no special knowledge. It asks only for recognition. When you strip away all techniques, all concepts, all trying, what remains? Pure awareness, the eternal witness, the field of infinite possibility that you have always been. This is not something to achieve, but to remember. The practice. As sleep approaches, release all methods and meanings. Let go of being a seeker, a student, a practitioner. Simply rest as awareness itself, whispering, I am the field, the dream, the dreamer. Allow this truth to carry you into slumber, where separation dissolves and unity is remembered once more. Chapter 30. Reality Bows to Awareness. In the depths of winter, Cecilia sat before her mirror each night, examining her reflection with growing curiosity. She had spent years seeking answers in sacred texts and distant temples, only to discover the most profound truth was gazing back at her through her own eyes. Night after night, she noticed something peculiar. Her reflection seemed to shift with her thoughts. When fear clouded her mind, the mirror showed shadows. When joy filled her heart, light appeared to dance around her form. Slowly, she began to understand that what she witnessed wasn't merely physical light and shadow, but consciousness itself taking shape. The universe operates as pure awareness, expressing itself through infinite forms. This truth stands as the crowning revelation of all spiritual seeking. Consciousness precedes all creation. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are not merely responses to reality. They are the very substance from which reality emerges. Just as waves arise from the ocean yet remain water, all forms arise from consciousness yet remain consciousness. There is no separation between the observer and the observed, between the creator and the creation. You are not merely a being having experiences. You are the field of experience itself, taking shape as specific forms and events. When you truly grasp this principle, manifestation becomes effortless. No longer do you push against what appears to be an external world. Instead, you recognize that what you perceive is your own consciousness reflected back to you in physical form. Every circumstance, every encounter, every moment of your life is consciousness observing itself through the unique lens of your awareness. In another town lived a wise woman who spent her days crafting mirrors. Each morning she would polish them until they gleamed like still pools of water. One day, a beam of sunlight struck one of her mirrors, and she watched in amazement as it bounced from mirror to mirror, creating a dance of light throughout her workshop. In that moment, she understood. Light was recognizing itself through reflection, just as consciousness recognizes itself through experience. This story reflects your own journey of awakening. Like light bouncing between mirrors, consciousness creates infinite reflections of itself through your experiences. Each moment serves as a mirror, showing you another facet of your own infinite nature. The practice. As you drift toward sleep, relax into being the boundless awareness behind all form, no longer the dreamer within the dream, but the luminous field creating it all in one infinite harmonious flow. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. The practice has come full circle, no longer ritual, but remembrance. Each night as you cross the sacred bridge between wake and dream, the quantum field listens to the lullaby of your emotions. You have transcended being a petitioning human awaiting miracles. You now stand as a conscious composer of causality. The shift whispers with subtle grace. Creation flows not from morning's first light, but continues effortlessly through your rest. Your dreams weave tomorrow's tapestry while your conscious mind surrenders to sleep's embrace. This knowing transforms every moment into sacred participation with the infinite. To live this way is to walk awake inside a lucid dream, where boundaries between desire and manifestation dissolve like morning mist. Faith becomes as natural as breathing, for you recognize yourself as both the dreamer and the dream. The universe moves through you as you move through it, each thought a brush stroke on reality's canvas. You need not strain or struggle, for the grand conspiracy of love that orchestrates all existence responds automatically to your vibration. Your role is simply to maintain the frequency of your choosing, allowing the quantum field to arrange the details with perfect precision. As you lay your head upon your pillow each night, rest in the knowing that you are the architect of light itself. Your consciousness shapes worlds while you sleep, and morning arrives bearing gifts aligned with your highest vision. You have always been creating. Now you create with awareness, with intention, with the full power of your realized divinity. This is not manifestation. This is remembrance of what has always been true. You are the field, the force, the form, eternal awareness expressing itself through the miracle of your unique existence.
If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.